listening to the Indie Echo Podcast, a showcase of independent music and the artists that make it. I'm Jordan, producer at High Five Music. Eve Whelan is an Irish singer-songwriter. Her emotional lyrics and enchanting harmonies can be heard throughout her debut EP, Reflection.
She can't stay much longer, you know. She packed her bag so long ago, but she's too afraid to let go.
So Eve, thank you for being here.
Thanks a million for having me on.
You've had an exciting weekend of listens and radio plays. And how has the response been to your very first EP release?
I mean, I've done 2 releases, but every time it's so overwhelming, like in a good way. Even like friends from school, the support they've shown is absolutely incredible. You just never get used to it. Like, I'm absolutely overwhelmed, and yeah, it's been great. Thanks. I'm from Clonmel in County Tipperary, Ireland. It's a small town. Growing up, I kind of listened to some of the old classics. Like, I grew up around Kate Bush, The Cure, Nirvana. Like, my dad was really into Nirvana as well as my mum, and they were both in bands growing up as well. So I've always been surrounded by music growing up, and I've always been really creatively inclined because of that. Even as a child, I used to write silly little poems, and I had a song made up to go with everything. And yeah, I was always kind of writing songs as a child as well. I only started taking it seriously until maybe a couple of years ago when I was 14. But I wrote them and I kept them to myself. I was like, no one can see these, like, you know. And yeah, and now I'm writing them, you know, I'm bringing out my own music today. So yeah, I've always kind of been the way I am.
Where did Reflection come from? What made you decide this is the one I'm going to put out?
So basically, Reflection, it's literally reflecting back in a period of time in my life where I lost a much loved family member. And each song kind of goes through the different stages of grief, from like the actual like loss, and then how I coped with it, what was going on in my head and heart. And then the end song, Promise, kind of ends on a hopeful message for the future. But yeah, like, this person had a really positive impact on my life, and it kind of, the album discusses like feeling lost and hopeless, and then in the end kind of grown from that, and then where I am today, seeing the hope for the future again.
Were all the songs written at this, like, the same time? And did you make any cuts? Are there B-sides we haven't heard?
So basically, like, even since I was 10, like, some elements of these songs have been whirling around in my head. Like, for example, even with Outsider, you know, when the initial loss struck, it's kind of like the feeling of floating outside of myself, and kind of like as if I was a ghost, nearly not recognizing myself, like even in the mirror. I feel like everyone who goes through like a loss has experienced something like that.
Outsider is probably a close second favorite of mine. There's the harmonies that you do in there are just really, really nice.
Yeah, thank you.
Stranger in your own life, you're a stranger from the outside, from the outsider in your own life, in your room, and you will never find the light.
Were you trained at all, like vocally, or?
Yeah, do you know what? This is the funny thing now. So, a lot of people are shocked when I say this, but like, from a really young age, I've been trained in musical theatre and popular singing. That's like what my grading is called. But I'm fully graded now up to grade 8, and I've done my senior cert, so I'll be able to teach it now whenever I get the results back. But like, my passion is obviously like writing music and making my own music, which kind of has that more of an alternative feel. But I also have my other passion, which is performing in musicals and musical theatre and all that. And like, it's a bit of a contrast, like, really, when you think about it. But yeah, I'm trained in musical theatre, and I started when I was about 10, getting my grades. But yeah, then we've moved on to the more alternative side of things, but I still love musical theatre. Like,
what made you want to do an intro track? Because they're kind of a lost art.
Yeah.
There's a lot of older albums will have intro tracks, and I miss them.
Yeah.
I
kind of always knew I wanted to, like, I don't know why, I love intros and albums. Like I love Kali Uchis, and she always does intros to her albums, and they kind of set the tone for the album, but at the same time they're kind of in their own realm away from the album. So basically, like, where Recovery came from was the kind of period before the loss, where I was coming out of like a dark kind of patch in my life, and I was like, yeah, we're on the road to recovery now, it's all great, and I was looking up to the future, and then bang, the loss hit, and it was kind of back to not rock bottom, but back to the ground again and working up from there. So yeah, I feel like Recovery goes to the rest of the album well, but at the same time is kind of in its own realm, really, when you think about it. Like, you know, even the sound of it's completely different to the other 4 songs, in my opinion, at least. Like,
yes, because there's a trumpet that comes in at the end.
Yeah.
And at first I was like, where's this trumpet coming from? And then I remember you play the trumpet.
Yeah, I played, I was like, do you know what? Like, I played the trumpet since I was 9. I was like, I have to do something with the trumpet on the album. And I was like, where can I put it in? I was like, it wouldn't fit in August. There's literally no way. It wouldn't really fit in Promise. Like, Transitions was already out at this point. I was like, I can't really do that and about that. And Outsider, couldn't really do anything. So I just put it in Recovery, and I think it not makes the song, but I feel like it wouldn't be the same without it.
On the road to recovery.
It works, yeah. It gives it, like, as soon as it comes in, it gives it like a 70s kind of feel.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. That's the vibe I wanted to go for, because I love all like 70s, 80s music. As I said, like, I grew up around that kind of music, and it's where I take a lot of my influences from as well. Like, especially with vocals, Kate Bush is one of my main influences. I feel like that's kind of, you can hear that in August. I just really admire her for her individuality. She was fearless, like, you know. She did what wasn't done before, and I just think she's an absolute inspiration. Like, but yeah, when you watch her music videos, like back in the 80s, it probably looks so peculiar because everyone was kind of doing the same thing, but she just took it right outside the box. Like, even with her outfits, the way she sang, her lyrics. Like, my favorite song of hers is The Hounds of Love. Like, there's nothing that sounds like her, even in this day and age. There's literally nothing. I absolutely love her. She's probably one of my biggest musical inspirations, I would say. Yeah.
And you took on the production all yourself, correct?
I did. I got help with the mastering by my Andrew Whelan, but I mixed all of it in my bedroom above, and I performed it all. And my bedroom is tiny, so I literally don't know how I did it. And it's like, I just recorded it with my microphone here. And yeah, I mixed it all. I wrote all the songs up there. It all happened up in my room. I wrote all the songs, recorded it, mixed it, and yeah.
And it came out amazing.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
What was the hardest part about it? Was it learning all the technical parts of it?
I got the recording equipment initially for my birthday there last year, and I started playing around with it then in October. I had no idea how to do it. Before, I would have used GarageBand on my phone, like, you know, just to record my vocals or whatever. But this is completely new to me. I watched a few YouTube videos, but then I just started kind of fiddling around with how to do harmonies, because I just love layering harmonies. You can kind of hear that in my album as well. But yeah, then I put in the hard work for a few months, and then I recorded. It wasn't my single now, but it was the first like original song I put out into the world, Haunted. And yeah, I just knew I had to get it out there, and then Transitions came after that and the rest of the album. So yeah. It's
funny how naturally harmonies come sometimes. It's like you've heard so many songs, you know what's going to sound good in this one note and stuff. So what is a lot of, you know, just playing around with what works and what doesn't?
Mm-hmm. yeah, like especially I love doing the harmonies in recovery because you know, I feel like it's easy to harmonize with some songs. You just go like a major third, like, you know, and it's done. But like, I feel like the harmonies in recovery, I love doing those because I think there's about 4 layers to them. But it was super fun to do that and then add the trumpet in at the end. That was probably my favorite song to do the harmonies on, even though I have harmonies in all of my songs. But yeah, I actually wrote August, the lyrics to August, in about 15-20 minutes, I'd say. It just came to me one night. It was going around in my brain for the past few days, and I knew I had to get it down on paper because I couldn't go another day. Like I was like, this has to be a song. Like I kind of had the melody in my head already, but the lyrics came first for that one. And I kind of write through metaphors as well. I don't really write literally. All my songs are kind of metaphorical. So I had the metaphor and then I wrote down the lyrics. And then in the following few days, I put the recording together.
Take me back to before. Take me back to before it happened. Ooh, it was a war and you fought to your core. But why does it happen that everything starts to fall down?
That was kind of the fastest song to put together of the whole album. But yeah, Outsider, the contrary. Oh my God, Outsider was a process. It took months. I remember I had the melody for literally months and I loved it so much, and whatever lyrics were coming to my mind, none of them would fit, and even the concepts and the images are like they just won't suit it. And then I kind of had to take a step back and literally reflect on like that time in my life, and I was like, well, what were you feeling though? Because that's what the album was lacking, I feel, at that point. I was like, I didn't even discuss like how I was feeling inside at that point. And yeah, then it kind of turned into this like, I don't know, yeah, not even angsty sounding, but it kind of sounds a bit sad as well. It's like nearly a paradox because the sound is so happy, but when you listen to the lyrics, then you're like, oh, it's a bit, you know.
Those are some of the fun songs where like,
yeah,
even
definitely.
some, you know, top 40 dance songs, you'll be like dancing and it's like talking about something really sad.
Yeah, you listen to the lyrics and you're like, oh, never mind. Yeah, shouldn't be dancing to that. Yeah.
And what made you want to use Transitions as your lead single?
I feel like it was just kind of universally, like, in my opinion, I feel like my album is such a personal project. But I feel like with Transitions, especially like at the time of our lives we're at now, with so much change going on in the world, like the time I wrote it was during the first lockdown, and the lockdown had just started, everything was closed down, no one knew what was going on, everything was up in the air. So I kind of took inspiration from that, and the fact that I'm going to college next year and everything, like the fear of the unknown. And I felt like it was just a really universally relatable message in comparison to the rest of the songs on my album, because they're quite personal to me and like that time in my life. But yeah, I just felt like everyone especially would be able to relate to Transitions, and yeah, basically.
And then Promise is the uplifting
It is
closer of the album.
Yeah.
And what made you want to make it like pretty much all guitar and then I guess some synthy pad in there as well? Yeah.
So basically what I did was I just started off with me and my guitar, and then I synthesized some of the guitar. So the synthy here, like the swell of the synth, is actually my guitar. I just synthesized it and then I brought it back down again. But I just wanted the last song to be kind of pared back and simple, because I think the rest of the album, like, it's really harmony laden, and as I said, and there's so many instruments, and like even with Promise, I feel like the vocals are more spaced out as well. Like for example, Outsider's really wordy. Even Recovery is as well. So I kind of wanted the hopeful message at the end and something to kind of come down off the climax of the album. But yeah, I just knew I had to end the album on a hopeful message, because some of the songs were fairly heavy on it, and I kind of wanted to take inspiration from where I am now in my life as well, which is in a good place. Like, I'm kind of looking towards the future. So yeah, I just wanted to add that in at the end.
I see you there in the summer air, just like we promised.
love a good album structure where you have your intro, you have your outro, and it all just makes sense as one big collection. Because a lot of albums, you'll listen to them and they're basically just a bunch of singles that they just kind of throw in together.
Yeah.
So to have that story to tell, not just lyrically but also sonically.
Yeah, absolutely.
And getting that across
really important.
That's something you did very well. So
thank you. Thanks so much. That was really important to me because, like as you said, a lot of albums are just singles put together. And I knew I didn't want mine to be like that. I wanted it to kind of tell a story, even though it's only 5 songs. But yeah, like that's why I put the intro in as well, because I was like, I can't just start off in August, you know what I mean? Because that's not really telling the full story. I wanted to start from the very start and then where I am now. So yeah, thanks so much.
Yeah. At the beginning of your career now, so do you have any like short-term goals? What would you like to do in the near future?
Well, I'm going to college next year, so I'm going to be studying music and English. So I don't even know what route I really want to go down musically. Obviously, I'll always love to make my own songs and everything, but as a career, like I don't really know yet. I could become a music teacher. I could be a conductor. You know what I mean? Like I kind of want to spend the next few years trying to find out what route I want to go down musically. So I just kind of want to focus on my studies for a while, and obviously then start performing publicly, as I've never performed publicly by myself. I've been in a marching and concert band since I was 9, and we went on a few trips abroad with the band, especially the most notable one I'd say would be to the US. We went to Chicago, and my only kind of experience singing solo in public was in front of the big band playing behind me in the background, but yeah, my plan is to just focus on my studies, find out what route I want to go down in music, and just keep making my own music and putting it out there, really. Just keep putting myself out there.
Cool.
Thank you.
Chicagoans would appreciate how you say Chicago.
Yeah, I've a really thick Clonmel accent. Chicago, yeah. Definitely, yeah, I have a really thick Clonmel accent. Like I grew up out in the country, so people used to tell me I sounded like a farmer. I do. Like even though I live in the town now for the past few years, but I still do sound a bit like a farmer. Yeah, it'll never go away. Yeah. Yeah.
Are you anxious to move to a big city or something?
I actually love the city life. I really do. I think growing up in such an isolated area out in the country as well, because it wasn't in a village, it was literally in the middle of nowhere. I grew to love kind of being in the middle of something. Whenever we go on trips to Dublin or Cork, I used to love it. So I can't wait to, especially next year, be living in the city in college and everything. But I love city life. I absolutely love it. I love to be in the middle of something like the city. Yeah, I could never live out in the country.
I like that as well. Like whenever I go to New York or something, I don't even have a purpose. I just kind of walk and wander and find things.
Yeah, lovely.
And even here, I just kind of ride my bike around and find things I never found before.
Yeah, I'd love to go to New York, actually. That's one of my goals as well. Go to New York in the future. Chicago is amazing, but New York, I think it's just from seeing movies growing up. My favorite movie was Home Alone 2, Lost in New York. So ever since then I was I have to go to New York and can't wait to go to Broadway and all that. So yeah, sometime in the future, hopefully.
Oh, you'll never be bored.
Yeah.
And you'll never be hungry. A lot of great food.
Yeah, oh my god, that's honestly a selling point for me going, honestly.
Releasing your first body of work is always very exciting because well, first of all, you don't know if anyone's actually going to listen to it.
Yeah.
But you've at least built up, a following on YouTube and now TikTok. So you have that core listener base.
Yeah.
But you still don't know what the reaction is going to be. So can you talk about what the reaction to other people, from other people about the album has been?
Yeah, it's been unreal. I'm so overwhelmed with the amount of feedback I got and the amount of positivity surrounding it, even people sharing it on their story, and even text messages I got from my friends in school. It's been lovely. And it got a few like spins on the radio there, and I got featured in a Hot Press magazine the other day, which I'm still in the state shock over. I can't believe it. Like I genuinely, like, it's been one of my long-term goals for so long, because I'd always, like, even grown up seeing the magazine, like, even if it was through like my friends or whatever, and I'd always read it online, and I got a feature in it there the other day for August, and I still can't believe it, like, and even other people doing reviews. It's just amazing to read it, like, and be like, oh my god, they're talking about my song. Like, I still, it hasn't sunk in yet, I don't think, but yeah, it's mad.
And so I assume you're anxious to start playing it live in front of people.
Mm-hmm,
and you said you haven't done that yourself, so do you think it's going to be just all nerves going into that?
Yeah, like when I was younger now, I used to be an absolute nerve bag when it came to like perform publicly. Like I kind of always struggled with that, but as I've gotten older, I've just gotten way better at kind of harnessing that. I think what helped me as well was I was on the stage from like an early age in dance shows. I started off on stage in dance shows, and then in whatever musicals I was in, when I'd sing on stage, it kind of, for some reason, it felt like at home to me. Like I wasn't nervous when I was on stage. Like obviously when you first step out, you're a bit nervous, but then once you start going, you're fine. I think thinking about it's the worst thing for like a lot of people. They just kind of start overthinking. They're like, oh yeah, but what if this goes wrong? And then when you're actually up there, it's fine. Like, but I can't wait to start playing again. Like on my own, because I've never gigged on my own before. I kind of want to make a band, so I don't know, like that's just not even one of my goals, but it's something that I would like to do eventually, because for now it's just me and my acoustic guitar, even though I did play every instrument on the album. But I wish I had like 10 hands, because that'd be really cool, because I could just be like a one-man band then.
Yeah.
But yeah, just me and my little guitar for now.
So is it like music theory that you're studying, or?
It's just music in general. So there's different like modules in the course. There'd be like music theory, composed music production. I can't wait for that, just to learn more about it, like a lecture. Music performing, songwriting, everything, literally everything. Which I'm really excited about, because as I said, I still don't really know what route I want to do musically, even though I'll always be writing my own songs. But yeah, I could be a conductor yet, you never know.
Yeah. One of my earlier episodes with Rachel Frankwriter, she has her singer-songwriter side, but she also does opera like on the side.
Yeah, I listened to that episode actually. Yeah, that I thought I related to that immediately, because I was like, do you know what, that's so crazy, because it's kind of, for me at least, it's kind of rare you'd come across people like that they have such contrast in like music backgrounds, because you know, like a lot of people are just like singer-songwriters, but when I heard she was studying opera, I was like, that's so cool that she can kind of separate like her operatic side to like the more kind of popular folk. Like I thought that was so interesting, which is what I'm doing as well, because musicals are really different to like the kind of music I bring out, like, you know.
As a drummer, I'm interested in how you found were you like programming all the drums in your?
Yeah, it was through a MIDI board. It was through a MIDI
yeah.
keyboard. I don't have an actual drum kit at home. I wish I did, but yeah, through a MIDI keyboard. Handy, really handy.
I mean, the fundamentals in drumming are even there when you're just tapping on a keyboard, because you need to do multiple things at once, and you know, have them all stay in rhythm and stuff. So was that the first time you had attempted something like that?
Yeah, well, it took me a few takes, especially with the first few songs, but then after a while you just get used to it, and then I quantized them obviously, because you could like be like a bit off some parts, but yeah, it's really fun. I feel like my dad is a drummer as well, so he constantly even be tapping, or when he was driving he'd be constantly tapping on the steering wheel. And my uncle's a drummer as well, so I was always surrounded by that. He was a drummer in the same marching band as I'm in when he was younger, so he'd be doing the same thing, and then I think I got it from my dad, to be fair, as well. And even like when I'm bored, I'm constantly tapping on my leg, like tapping my phone. So yeah, I'm pretty like rhythmic. So yeah, the drums were really fun to do on the album.
That's something you would want to continue to do?
Yeah, I actually was, when I first joined the marching band when I was like 9, I really wanted to be a drummer. I was about to be a drummer. But then we played the trumpet, but yeah.
what are you hoping the listeners of Reflections take away?
Especially with this album, those who have been through like loss and grief in any way, shape or form, I hope they can relate to some of the songs. And I just kind of want to strike a chord in some way with every listener, even if they haven't been through an experience like mine. Because even me personally, when I'm listening to other artists, they could like, it's like the way they even do it musically. It's not even necessarily their lyrics, it's just the music helps me connect with them. If they've been through an experience that I've never been through, I can still connect with them in some way. So yeah, even if it's musically, I just want people to connect with my music in some way.
Links to Reflection and everything else can be found in the show notes. Indie Echo is a product of High Five Music, a digital production studio that brings your bedroom demos to life. If you want your music professionally produced, mixed, or remixed, visit the link on my Instagram at High Five Music, and you can follow the show at Indie Echo Podcast. Thank you for listening.